Okay.
Hello, and welcome back to Dash 28 Live. We have a very special little episode here for you today. We have some final wrap-up information from the 2021 U.S. Kings of War Masters, which just completed minutes ago in Fort Worth, Texas, I think, specifically.
Yes.
Not Dallas, but Fort Worth. Cool. So, we have info on all of the awards, and I am joined by our reporters on the scene, Jake Cherapika, Britton Williams, and Tom Annis. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, Mike.
Going good.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to start talking about some of the awards here in a minute. But first, just top of mind, do you guys have any big highlights or surprises of things that happened this weekend that you want to share with everybody while they're still fresh?
Obviously the big one is Bird takes it all down.
Right.
Yep.
Nerf Keith.
I will. He was my dark horse pick. I will brag on myself a little bit. Just know that he was playing a ton on UB, and so he was practicing ready. And I think it proves that you don't need to take a filthy list to win.
Yeah.
Kings of War. If you know you have a good list, then you can do it as long as you know how to play the scenarios. And
So UB meta greater than in-person meta is what I heard there.
I will say, UB is it's a valid way to play Kings of War. I think, obviously, because that's all Keith did this year. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. True. All right. Anything from Jake or Britton, or should I start talking about the awards?
I think a big one for me is Grant Fetter taking away second overall. Just using all Aloe, which if you told me that, I'd be like, that's a terrible list. He beat me. I still don't think it's a great list, but it still beat me, and he still did well. So I don't know, like, Aloe, I guess, don't need a buff. I don't know.
Don't say that. I was reading it.
But it shows that, again, similar, like, you find a list that works for what you want to do and figure out how it plays, because you can make it work. I think that's what that lesson is.
Yep.
I'm going to do the counterpoint to Tom's fluffy answer of you don't need a scary list. Travis Tim,
Right.
second in battle, deadly close. He was third in battle last year. He's basically undefeated at Masters for
he tied
2 years.
Yep.
Absolutely horrible list to face, Goblin list, well constructed, great player. So on the other side of the coin is like, you can practice the same list over and over and over and raise it up to be strong, or you can just also have a filthy list and be a great player and do really well. And in a game with dice, he missed it by that much. So.
Yep, literally.
Yeah, and I think the unofficial results I heard was that Travis did win the last round match against Keith on the top table, but didn't win by enough to put him over Keith's lead from the previous rounds.
I'm sure Travis is a better man than I, but I would be salty. I would be salty about beating the master and then watching that award go to him. But that's how the game goes. And Keith's an awesome player, so
he is. They're alluding to some of the results. So let's start talking about those. First, sports. So these were voted on by the players. As you played, you got to vote for your opponents, is the standard way that it's done. And third place went to Kyle Poole. Second place went to Chris Murphy, and first place went to Grant Fetter with the Alohi list that people thought might have been filthy, but people don't seem to have minded playing against it.
I think a lot of that's Grant.
Sure. And the sports award is now like the Jesse Cornwell Memorial Sports Award, something like that. Yeah, there was.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a wonderful, very touching presentation at the beginning of awards. Billy Capgun Smith gave a freshly painted army dedicated to Jesse, to Kyle Pretzel Twinkie, along with a Miami Dolphins toolbox to carry it around in. Which anyone who ever played with him knows that a Miami Dolphins hat was the most common thing you'd see Jesse wearing. So I thought that was really cool.
Yep, it was awesome. It was definitely a highlight of the event. I've got probably maybe like 3 minutes left of battery before my phone craps out. So what are like the questions you're dying to have answered?
Sure. So I mean, given that we just saw Hurd win the U.S. Masters and Goblin Filth, no offense to Travis, come in second, and the other kind of big list that people were scared of, like the Ice Elemental spam and like the other nasty shooting Goblin lists, and like Jason Britt with Kingdoms of Men, like having like a Cinderella run. What do you guys think that means for the third edition U.S. Kings of War competitive meta?
I think, I mean, anybody at the top tables had to go through the Goblin Gauntlet. So I think they're still there. I mean, the top tables had 2-3 Goblin armies floating around for most of the event. So, like, I think he played Goblins twice to get that master seat. So it still speaks to the, you know, and that Kingdom's Men list is basically Goblins, just not short, right?
Tall Goblins.
Yeah, I think just because Goblins didn't take it down, because Travis was 1 point back. On the top tables, it was Travis on table 1 versus Keith. Table 2 was George O'Connell, which he had a good amount of shooting in his Goblin list, versus Jeff Swan. And then table 3 was Stephen Hausnick, who ended up third master, and he had an extremely shooty Ratkin list, allying in Goblin shooting,
right?
Versus Jason Britt, who we were just talking about. So shooting did extremely well. I will say these maps in this tournament, unusual for what I'm used to seeing in our region. The big thing was in the middle of the table there was almost never a hill or a forest.
Yeah.
And so I think that played a big role. I'm thinking back in my games, I didn't have any shooting, so I didn't really care. But
the lanes were there. I was using heavy mortars, and the lanes were there.
Mostly in the middle was some difficult terrain. It was like height 0 or something. And so I think that may have played a little bit. I mean, it was still good terrain, good layout.
Yeah.
But that was something I definitely noticed.
Yeah, if anyone looks and says Herd 1 shooting must not be that important in the meta, they are getting the wrong story.
Right.
As Tom just laid out, it's Herd 1, and then all of that stuff behind it on the top tables was heavy shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that it can be beaten. You know, Jeff, Keith, other folks were beating it in certain matchups. But it means your army has to be able to deal with it, because they're going to be there. You're not going to pop out of the swimming pool and get to the higher echelons where they not are. They were at the top tables. They were at the bottom tables. They were all over the tournament.
Right.
So
yeah. And I think in round 5, George O'Connell and Travis Tim, I think, played each other on like table 2.
Yeah.
Right.
So two Goblin lists playing each other at the top.
Yep.
Right. And Jeff O'Neill was floating around. I think
he played Shannon in the
right.
last round. So
and that's
yeah,
Goblin
they ran
Goblin.
into each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Any other thoughts on how the event was run? Any other highlights that come to mind that you guys want to shout out about? Anything that was interesting or different at this Masters than other Masters?
I think the thing I want to highlight is it felt like Masters.
Yep.
You know, there was people were rusty. Some people were off their game. You saw that in a lot of upsets. But overall, after the year and a half we've sort of had, there was a danger it wouldn't feel the same, and it felt good, and it felt the same in a lot of good ways.
Yeah,
cool.
I forgot what it's like when there's just so much personality in the room.
Yeah.
Like, all the big, a lot of the big personalities are.
You're getting the highlight reel,
packed in, and it's, when they mix together, it's pretty awesome.
And that's something I love with Masters is a lot of the people on table 30 win other GTs,
right,
or place high in other GTs, and there's a bit of that where like they show up at table 30, you're like, what the hell, I'm gonna play this game.
Right.
This is supposed to be the bounce back game, but it's true. Like, so you are getting good games. You are getting people who know how to play, who generally play reasonably tight, don't get bad games for the most part, and that's awesome.
Yep. So the region awards, the South once again took Best Battle Region. That is now 5 years in a row.
Yep, I think Masters won it, which this year is good because we had a lot of new players on our team. We had a lot of first-time players. We had more people here in our region, but they were marking, like Brad McKay and some other guys. And so I was proud of the new guys on our team.
It's a big thing for them, right? Yeah, they're not dragging it down.
Exactly.
Yep. And since I've got it on the screen right now, big shout out to Britton Williams taking second in appearance and second in player's choice.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone agrees you are the second best looking Army.
It's really good to get the worse than Hank Gouge and worse than Bart Kohler award, which I will take. It's good.
Hey, that's
right.
Yeah, best highlighted giant butt cheek.
That is 2 plaques that you get to take home, and they don't ask how, they ask how many. All right. So to go through the other appearance awards real quick, third place went to Jeff O'Neill. Second, of course, went to Britton, and first went to Hank Gouge with his beautiful army of kind of polar themed Varinger with sharks and.
Land ride. It is a full sensory experience.
Yep, the
100%
stuff moves on the display board.
100%.
There's music. Yep.
Yep. And player's choice, of course, third place went to Hank. Second went to Britton, and first went to Bart Kohler, which I believe this is his first time at the Masters.
Yep.
Playing in the Masters. He was the best of the rest.
Does Alex Chavez have like a theory of what type of armies win player's choice? Because someone was saying that too, and was like, Bart's fit that exactly.
Oh, I have a theory too.
Oh,
Yeah,
you do?
yeah.
Okay.
If you want to hear, we can talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike
I don't
and
know
I,
if it was not the best painted, but it was.
Mike and I have spent hours talking about that actually.
Yeah.
Best paint and player's choice
Are two different things. Yep.
Very different things. Very different things.
Requirements and stuff. You can have. It's
Yep.
all.
I want to give a shout out to Keith Randall, proving that elves are mediocre at best.
Yep.
And even though you finish 5-1, you're still countercharger, bro. So
There you
I'll
go.
tell you, talking shit from the bottom.
The only elf player here, and as someone shouted out, that's one elf too many.
Yep. Totally. And in terms of the master results, of course, Steve Hausnick comes in third, Travis Tim second place, and Keith Conroy taking it home by 1 point for the Northeast. That's pretty big.
Hasn't had a master before too, so that's really cool.
They have not, and I feel like that's sort of like a people's champion kind of win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like one of the nicest people in the room every tournament he goes to. So yeah, I think everybody's pretty happy to see that, especially with a list like he's running. Like it's a
Seeing Herd take something will be. It'll be the same effect when Alex won with dwarves, and people would complain on like Fanatics about how dwarves are underpowered, and people were like, "It just won the Masters, shut up."
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that just goes to show you can win the U.S. Masters if you get a lot of practice in with one very good, very capable list and play to your strengths.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can take it. Yep.
And I think it validates practice. I mean, I think Eric
Yep.
last year played more than anyone in the country, and he took it out. And this year, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Keith played more than anyone in the country.
I think he
and
still
took
had
it
like
out.
UB email games going this
While he
weekend.
was
Like, I
here,
saw people like
While he's doing it.
We were still taking this, or like.
Yeah, it really speaks to the thing that we keep saying over and over again, that Kings of War is a game where you are most likely to get beaten by an opponent rather than an army or a list.
Right. Yep.
Definitely.
Yep, which is great. All right, let's move on to Paragon. So Grant Fetter came in third for Paragon. Dustin Howard managed to eke out a second place Paragon win, and Jeff Swan taking home first place Paragon. Again, I'm not mad that a guy that had a Jesse Cornwell, tribute army took Paragon.
Yep.
And Jeff is a best overall player.
For sure.
He's a super strong player.
Yep.
Super tactical, but he tends to play a sort of counterpunch style, I feel.
Right. He doesn't just beat you over the head with
Right.
shooting or
And
something.
that means
Right.
that a lot of his games are going to be close, and a lot of his games are going to be smaller wins but small losses.
Which people are gonna have fun with.
But then he's a great guy to play. He's a great guy to be with, and then he's an amazing painter. So it elevates that best overall, and it totally makes sense he won Paragon.
Yep.
And he did
100%.
say his last game against George on round 6, it was Jesse. His model that he was using is Jesse. I think it was like a sergeant on Chariot that got the charge he needed to win the game. So he's like, it's just
That's
very
that's
fitting.
very appropriate.
And then
Awesome.
Howard getting Paragon? Dojo?
He got
Paragon?
overall
He
Paragon
was
at Chicago. I
Yeah,
want to say
he was first.
he was first in Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago. Jesus.
He's a really good painter. His army's sharp looking, man. He's gotten
Yep.
really good the last few years.
Yep.
And he's a fun guy to play. He's a very fun guy to play.
Nice dojo guy.
We are the nice dudes.
You alternate, right? You
Yeah.
alternate.
Yeah. I mean, I had the pleasure of losing to Dustin in the first round of the Masters last year, and I got no complaints. It was a fun as hell game.
I know he was pretty frustrated. He lost the first round. We didn't expect. Well, he faced heavy shooting.
Right.
And he had some bad luck early.
The person
and
got
then,
hot dice.
hot
Jason
dice.
got hot dice with the
Hot dice.
and then it's Masters. So in round 2, he submarines a Shannon Shoemaker.
Right.
Right.
To another super tight game, which he didn't pull out. And good for him that he.
But then some poor person plays dust in round 3 after losing 2 games.
Right. Exactly.
That's the beauty and shame of Masters, is that you're like 0-2, feeling bad, and then you're like, this is what I gotta play.
What are you doing down here? Right. Yep. And again, Bloodiest Generals, guys that came in at the bottom were John Blakemore and Felix Castro. We do have some overall regional scores. These were based on overall, which they didn't give awards for, but they shouted them out. So Mid-Atlantic coming in 3rd there, Northeast 2nd, and South in 1st. They didn't do appearance, but they did do sports, where South was 8th. Kind of no surprises there. And the West Coast actually took 1st place region sports, which I thought was pretty cool for them.
Yep.
And then, of course, for battle, flip it the other way around. West is at the bottom, South is at the top, with Mid-Atlantic edging out the Northeast to come in 2nd. So big East Coast presence there, 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to cover? I have the best army results that I can show people towards the end. But while you guys still have battery, I want to check in with you guys and see if there's anything else you want to talk about or mention. Anything that you thought was interesting in the awards or any of the matches or armies.
For me, just a general meta thing is I sort of said this yesterday, but it still feels like we're figuring it out. Like and maybe that's just good and balanced Kings of War. But it didn't feel like there was a dominant narrative around the armies that were winning and not winning. I mean, the shooting is strong, and there wasn't like a bogey.
I think in many ways the shooting being strong is just a return to what it was like in 2nd. Like 2nd shooting was strong too. It's just when 3rd first started, people were like, "Yeah, fuck shooting," and now people are like, "Actually,
it's okay."
The shooting was different.
Yes.
The shooting is different, which I think is good.
It's in 2nd. It was this fairly highly elite, highly deadly, high piercing, because of the item and whatever else you do, and it really squashed certain lists. Like I don't think Jeff's Ogre list could have survived a 2nd edition elf.
No.
And Herd would always have trouble with that. And so this is it's a sort of a volume of bad shooting that's happening, or these weird sort of bang-its and wing-its, whizzes, and sort of combinations.
Flame bearers. Yep.
The one type of shooting that we didn't really see too great was lightning bolt spam, which
Yeah, it was
I
surprising.
think people are figuring out. It's good to have it as a complement to other shooting, but if you're packing some lists here, we're trying to pack 30 lightning bolt.
You pay so much to give up so much to get the extra in.
Yeah.
It's not worth
it. For me, and maybe everybody watching and has watched over the weekend, this is just so energizing,
Yeah.
It's such an energizing event. You want to build 20 new armies.
I'm going to go home and finish the army I've been working on for 2 years now.
Yeah.
I come
Nice.
into Masters a little tired of Kings of War.
Right.
Sort of and you come out, you're like, what's next? What GTs are this
Right.
year?
Where can I go? Yeah.
Right. Time to go sign up for some stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully that really does have a big effect this year because everyone's getting back into it, and hopefully it's a good launching pad to
A successful year, right?
Cool. Any news out of the Masters Council meeting on Friday that you guys can share about how the event is going to look going forward, or was nothing really decided?
No one cares about that.
I think we're sticking to summer months for Masters going forward. That was decided. Other than that, I don't think there's any major decisions.
We can share it whenever the future stuff is, but who knows? I missed it. I was on a plane.
Same.
Lag.
Yep.
All right.
Looking around, I realized actually we both missed
We
it.
landed around midnight, and we're like, I hope it's not still going.
Cool. Well, I've had you guys for about 20 minutes now, and I don't want to keep you too long because you guys are on site there, and I'm sure there are people who are leaving that you would like to say goodbye to, and you guys are probably tired or you need to go pack up and get ready to travel. So thanks so much for jumping on and giving us some perspectives from the actual event. I super appreciate that. And travel safely, and we will see you guys somewhere down the road.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And now, before I end the live stream, you guys can drop off whenever you'd like. I'm going to quickly go through the top Army awards. Dylan Murray took Best Salamander Player. Marcelo Rucco took Best Brother Mark. Garrett Mercier took Best Trident Realm. Joey Greek took Best Night Stalkers. Adam Ballard took Best Empire Dust. Jason Britt took Best Kingdoms of Men. Keith Randall took the Elf Player Award because he was the only one. Mike Rossi, Best Dwarf Player. League of Rordia went to Julian Lesage. I probably have some of these names spelled wrong because I was writing them down quickly. Undead, of course, went to Tom Annis. Abyssal Doors went to Jeff Shilkin. Again, probably butchered that spelling. Definitely butchered the spelling of Abyssals there, but Best Forces of the Abyss Army went to John Vanas. Best Varangur Player was again Hank Googe. Best Orc Player went to Brenton Williams. Best Ratkin Player went to Steve Hausnick. Best Ogre Players, of course, was Jeff Swan. Best Northern Alliance went to Dustin Howard. Best Hearth, of course, went to now current reigning U.S. Master Keith Conroy. And Best Basileans went to Grant Fetter. And Best Goblins went to Jeff O'Neill. So those are the Army results. I'm going to scroll back up to the actual battle results just one more time to go through and congratulate some folks. So, once again, congrats to Grant Fetter on taking home first place sports at the 2021 U.S. Masters. Congrats to Hank Googe for taking home Best Army Appearance. Congrats to Bart Kohler on taking home Player's Choice. And congrats to Jeff Swan for taking home Paragon. And, of course, big congratulations to Keith Conroy from the Northeast Playing Herd, taking home the award of 2021 U.S. Kings of War Master. So that's all I've got for you guys right now. I'm sure the full results will be posted later, and then the dissecting can begin of, was there a general trend in some armies finishing higher than others or lower or whatever. I'm sure there will be more wrap-up Masters coverage in the next week or two as people look back on the event and think. But for right now, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm your host, Mike Atkins, saying you stay safe out there. And we will see you next time on Dash 28 Live. Bye, everybody.